Good evening. It is evening here, and good morning to all of you. My name is Armin Briegel. I run the weblog Scripting OS 10. Tonight, I wanted to talk a short presentation about all the different kinds of packages that there are out there. You'd think package installers, that's something fairly simple. I mean, should be straightforward. But once you start looking at the detail and all the terms that go with it, and everything that you see around it, things get complicated very, very quickly and confusing as well. So I wanted to take these 15 minutes or 13 minutes that are left and clarify some of these things and give some guidance on when to use which kind of package. First of all, what are packages? Well, packages install files in certain locations in the file system on your computer, and they set the proper privileges and other attributes, such as the owner and group, and who can open it and who can execute it. All of these things are done by packages. Optionally, packages can also run scripts before or after the installation. There are many kinds of package types, and the confusing thing is, even though there are at least 4 kinds of package types, they all look the same. Most of them share the same extension. Except for the legacy meta package, which has mpkg, and it actually has a very awesome looking icon, and I kind of miss that. There are packages that have a single payload versus packages that have multiple payloads. There are modern flat packages and legacy older bundle packages. In this context, modern means they were introduced in 2007 with macOS 10.5 Leopard. So they've been around for a while. The bundle packages, as I mentioned, are legacy. They're actually folders with all the data inside. So I can distinguish them from the flat packages. In Finder, in the context menu, I will see the Show Package Content option. And then I can drill into the data in the bundle packages. Bundle packages are still being used today, mainly by Adobe. WinClone also creates bundle packages. That's because they are easier to create programmatically than the flat packages. Nevertheless, they're legacy, so that's all I'm going to say about them for today. We will focus on the flat packages, the modern packages. There is single payload component package and the multiple payload distribution package. A distribution package actually contains component packages, one or more. Component packages are the simplest form of package. They're sometimes just called packages or raw packages. They have a payload, which contains all the files that go in the various locations with all the privileges and everything. They have scripts, optionally, that run before and after the installation. They have a version, which hopefully increases when the contents of the package changes, and an identifier in the standard Apple reverse DNS notation that hopefully doesn't change when the package updates. The version and the identifier and the list of files together form the receipt or the record that stays on the computer that tells you this package has been installed on this computer. They can have some other metadata like require restart, but actually not that much. Most of the metadata is at the distribution level. If you want to check whether a given package that you downloaded from somewhere is a component or a distribution package, that's actually not so easy. We have to look inside the archive that the package is. These are ZAR or zip archives, that's XAR and XIP. And I can use the ZAR command line tool to look into them. And if when I look into the archive with the ZAR tool, see a package info file at the top level of the package, then it's a component package. That is actually an XML file with all the metadata. Distribution package, sometimes also called meta packages or product archives, they contain one or more component packages. They can provide a customized user interface, which you probably know or recognize, especially when you've installed Microsoft Office. That comes as a big distribution package. They can present an end-user license agreement, an introduction, custom icons. The user can choose among the components which one gets installed and which one doesn't. That's what distribution packages do. They don't have a payload of their own. They install their components' payloads. They don't have scripts of their own, but they run their components pre-install and post-install scripts. Distribution packages usually do not have a version and identifier of their own, because the components have a version and identifier and leave their receipts. But you can optionally add a version and identifier. It helps you identify the package, and then Apple calls them product archives. Product archives are distribution packages with a version and identifier set. If I look into a distribution package with the ZAR tool, I will see all of the components in their own subdirectories and a distribution XML file at the top level, which contains the metadata. If I see the distribution file, it's a distribution package. Package inspectors can also tell you if a package is a distribution package. Pacifist calls them meta packages, which is the old name, but if I see this at the top of the Pacifist window, then I know this is a distribution package. It will also list all the individual payloads of the individual components in the window, which I find very nice. Suspicious package, which is also a great package inspection tool. However, it does not show me whether a package I am inspecting is a distribution or a component package. They don't care. They don't show me the difference either. If I look into the receipts tab, if you have multiple receipts in there, it has to be a distribution package. But if I only see one receipt in there, it could either be a component package or a distribution package with one component. There's no way to tell the difference in suspicious package. If I want to build a distribution package from a component package, I use the product build command line tool. I can add one or more packages, and then it just wraps it into a distribution package. Sometimes we need that workflow. There are many more options to the product build command if you wanted to add more things. There's a great man page for that. Also, the packages application by Stefan Cedre. Wonderful UI for the same task, especially if you want to build custom installer UIs. Flat packages can also be signed and notarized. It's kind of orthogonal to the actual problem or thing. We need that to get past Gatekeeper. Now, if a user downloads something or gets it by email, the system will add a quarantine flag to it, which triggers Gatekeeper when the user tries to open it for the first time. All of this is based on user interaction. If we install things through managed installs or the command line tool, we usually don't have to deal with Gatekeeper. But as admins, we have to be really aware of when that is and isn't the case. Packages can be signed with basically any certificate that the client trusts. So you can create a certificate out of the MDM certificate authority, which all of your clients automatically trust, and sign your packages with that, which is very useful in some situations. Most people use an Apple Developer ID, which you have to pay for with either an individual or a team developer account. But of course, those are automatically trusted everywhere. Signing packages is sufficient to get past Gatekeeper in Mojave and earlier. That's the dialog that Mojave will show you if a package is signed, and then you have the option of opening it. Apple added notarization as a requirement to get past Gatekeeper in Catalina, and packages have to be notarized with an Apple Developer ID. All the binaries inside the package also have to be signed. So you need an Apple Developer ID to notarize a package. This is the dialog you get if something is notarized and approved. The user has the open option. If something is signed but not notarized, then the only option is OK, which in this case doesn't mean it doesn't open. We can bypass that with the context menu or going through the security panel, but we don't want to teach our users how to bypass these security measures. So when do I use what? And I've identified 4 uses of packages that are very common for admins. The first one is managed installation or installation through an MDM, using packages with StartOS install, or user-facing installation. So managed installations don't really have a UI. I didn't really know what to show because usually they run in the background and you don't see them. That's kind of the point. Actually, if you want to make them visible because they're big installs, that's kind of a challenge, and there's tools for that. But yeah, users also use them when they go through a service portal like the Monkey Managed Software Center or the self-service apps for the various management systems. All of these have in common that there is a daemon, a local agent, that actually runs the installer command line tool to install the package. So either Monkey does it, or a Jamf policy, or whatever your management system uses. For these, my first recommendation is, well, if the vendor provides a package, use the vendor package. No need to repackage, no need to change, often the easiest solution. Sometimes the vendor won't provide a PKG, but a DMG or a zip, or the PKG just doesn't work in this context, then you have to build a component package, the simplest package available. Use package build, monkey package, quick package, packages composer. All of these tools can do that, whatever. If we're installing through a local agent, no signing or notarization is necessary. Unless your management system uses MDM commands for the installation, the install application and the install enterprise application, MDM commands. Then no local agent is involved, MDM is negotiating with the client. One example of this is the Jamf pre-stage, but other management systems use this as well. In this case, you need to build a signed distribution package. So you build your component, you wrap it in a distribution, and you sign it. You can sign it with the Apple Developer ID or a locally trusted certificate from a certificate authority. Consult your management system's documentation support. These things are very, very different for each management system. There's details and nuances there. You can use product build, monkey package, or the packages app. And James Smith will be talking later about this in his presentation on the Jamf pre-stage. StartOS install lets you add packages as well. This is especially useful when you're doing an arrays install. Then I can add custom packages that will be installed after the system is installed, but before setup assistance starts. I can add multiple packages, and if one of them requires a reboot, the system will actually respect that and do the reboot after it's installed all the custom packages, but before setup assistance starts. Packages you add to StartOS install have to be product archives. Don't ask me why. Just a component package won't do, just a distribution package won't do. It has to be a distribution package with a version and identifier set. They don't have to be signed or notarized. Also, if you're doing these kinds of return to service workflows, I recommend looking at Tucanu's MDS, and Tim Perfect presented or demoed it yesterday. Sometimes we have to do user installations. Sometimes we have to put things on a website for users and download and install this. There are situations where we need to do this as admins. And then we are subject to all the gatekeeper checks. So if we're doing this, we have to sign and notarize our packages so they look right to the user. We get past Gatekeeper. And while you're doing that, you might as well customize the user interface, which makes your package look more authentic and more real to the user. You can use product build or the packages app to do that. So to summarize, when you're doing managed installations, the first thing you should try is the vendor package. It will save you a lot of work if it just works. Otherwise, build the simplest package available, component package. For MDM installations, you have to do a signed distribution package. It doesn't have to be Apple Developer ID signed, but it needs to be signed. StartOS install requires a product archive, distribution package with version and identifier set. And if we are doing user-facing installations, it has to be notarized with an Apple Developer ID. I thank you for your attention. I will be moving to the speaker Q&A as soon as we wrap up here, and I'm looking forward to your questions. My name is Armin Briegel. I am scripting OS 10, that's scripting OS X, on the web, on Twitter, and in the Slack. Thank you very much.